Sometimes you'll see a match on a WWE show, and depending on factors such as its placement on the card, who's in it, and what the stipulations are, you might have zero expectations for it. Sometimes, depending on those same factors or others, you might even expect it to be actively bad. How nice it is then when these matches, which have all the potential of being decidedly unmemorable or outright stinkers, turn out to be genuinely excellent. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 WWE matches nobody expected to be great. Join us. Number 10, Kalisto vs. Ryback on the Payback 2016 kickoff. Say it quietly, but Ryback and Kalisto had a decent series of matches over the WWE United States title in 2016, including on the WrestleMania 32 kickoff show. The Masked Man was, it's fair to say, rather inconsistent during his WWE run, capable of the spectacular as well as the sloppy when attempting his, good lucha things. The big guy, meanwhile, didn't seem like half the performer he had been when he burst onto the scene and became an unlikely main eventer just a few years prior. Evidently, the two men felt like they had a point to prove when they met on the kickoff portion of the Payback pay-per-view, with Ryback wearing a weightlifting belt bearing the phrase "Pre-Show Stopper." A unique clash of size and styles, the pair put on a compelling David vs. Goliath match that had a hot start and told its power against speed story very well. The challenger proved to be a solid base for the champ's high-flying offense, and they got the Chicago crowd right into it with some effective near falls before Kalisto hit the Salida del Sol to retain. Ryback's last WWE match ever, by the way, due to his official retirement from the business. Number 9, Chris Jericho vs. Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, and Ricky Steamboat at WrestleMania 25. Despite doing some of the best work of his career during his long and highlight-laden 2008 feud with Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho found himself at a bit of a loose end by the time WrestleMania 25 rolled around. A mooted match with Mickey Rourke, based on Rourke's portrayal of Randy the Ram Robinson in the movie The Wrestler, was scrapped, leaving Y2J to muck about with a trio of past their prime legends in a 3-on-1 handicap elimination match. As if to underscore its lack of big picture importance, it went on third. The match's opening minutes, with Jericho slowing things way down for Piper and Snuka, were what they were. But when Steamboat tagged in and unleashed some of his trademark arm drags and chops, there was a noticeable change in tone. After Jericho had eliminated first Superfly and then Hot Rod, fans got a proper look at just what the Dragon was still capable of in his mid-50s and over a decade after he had officially retired due to a serious back injury. Steamboat rolled back the years and had fans believing an upset was on the cards before succumbing to the Codebreaker. His performance here deservedly earned him a singles match with Jericho the following month at Backlash. Number 8, Sheamus vs. The Big Show at Hell in a Cell 2012. When the Big Show and Sheamus met for the Celtic Warriors World Heavyweight title at Hell in a Cell 2012, few fans would have expected anything more than a surly slog between a veteran whose best days were behind him and an upstart who had not yet gained a reputation for producing banger after banger after banger. How pleasantly surprising then that it turned out to be the best bout of the night and one of the most memorable of the entire year. The world's largest athlete had his working boots on, that's for sure, putting in a commendable 20-minute shift that showed that there was still some gas left in the tank. Sheamus was also game, brawling his Irish heart out to counteract the giant's sheer size while bumping hard and selling well to make Show come across like a major threat. A gripping heavyweight hoss fight unfolded, with both men digging deep and pulling out all the stops until the challenger sidestepped a brogue kick and delivered a knockout punch to bag the gold. A simple, effective story told well. This is one of Big Show's best singles matches ever, and a feather in the cap for Sheamus too. Number 7, Sami Zayn vs. Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania 38 Night 2. Whenever celebrities get involved in wrestling, there's always the fear that they're just there for either an easy payday or to plug something before getting the hell out of the ring as quickly as possible. Thankfully, actor and all-round jackass Johnny Knoxville was more than game during his very entertaining feud with Sami Zayn, which led to an Anything Goes match on Night 2 of WrestleMania 38. Both men were truly committed to making this better than it had any right to be, battering each other with weapons as Knoxville took a table bump early on. A bunch of the other jackass Gas Lads got involved with Chris Party Boy Pontius getting his ass out and his ass handed to him before Wee Man brought the house down with a scoop slam that knocked Hogan's on Andre at WrestleMania 3 down to number 2 on my all-time list. Knoxville's wacky ways of avoiding defeat were a riot, from setting off turnbuckle pyro to a bowling ball to the bollocks, while Zayn deserves much credit for taking it all and selling it expertly, including a big bump through a table covered in mousetraps. The match was simply a ton of fun and perfect for what it was. Number 6, Goldberg vs Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel 2021. At SummerSlam 2021, Bobby Lashley beat Goldberg in a bitterly disappointing WWE title match with a terrible finish as the referee called for the bell when it was deemed that Goldberg couldn't continue due to an injured knee. It was the latest in another lackluster offering from the former WCW World Champion, whose second part-time WWE run had rapidly run out of steam. When the two men met in a no-holds-barred Falls Count Anywhere rematch at Crown Jewel, another dud seemed more likely than not. However, the stipulation ended up playing right into their hands as they were able to use all the smoke and mirrors available to disguise their shortcomings and put on an exciting and entertaining battle of the monsters. They broke tables and ringside barriers in a simple yet effective match that made Goldberg look like Goldberg once again as he took out the rest of the Hurt Business and got the upper hand on Lashley before spearing him off the ramp to his doom. Goldberg's best WWE match since his cracker with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33, and more than likely his last great WWE match ever. Please prove me wrong, Gunther. Number 5, WeeLC on the Extreme Rules 2014 kickoff. There's something to be said for committing to the bit, which is what everyone did when WWE presented a WeeLC match on the Extreme Rules 2014 kickoff show. A scaled-down version of TLC pitting Hornswoggle against El Torito, the two wrestlers had not only pint-sized tables, ladders and chairs to play with, but WWE even brought in a mini referee as well as mini announcers, timekeeper and ring announcer for the occasion. What could have been a 5-minute affair played entirely for laughs was in fact a riotous and very competitive match that earned the two combatants a standing ovation when they returned through the curtain afterwards. Hornswoggle has spoken about how everyone involved in the presentation, from he and Torito to the members of 3MB and Los Matadores, as well as the producers tasked with putting it together, went into it with the mindset that they were going to make it truly memorable as a way of sticking it to WWE management. Well, you know what? They succeeded, putting on a match that was every bit as entertaining, if not more so, than anything on the main pay-per-view card. Number 4, Eddie Guerrero vs JBL at Judgment Day 2004. With Kurt Angle and The Big Show injured, Brock Lesnar off chasing an NFL pipe dream, and the recently returned Undertaker firmly entrenched in the babyface camp, SmackDown had a real lack of top-level heels for WWE Champion Eddie Guerrero to work with in the wake of WrestleMania 20. The solution was to turn babyface beer-drinking mid-card tag teamer Bradshaw into JBL, the heel stock market whiz who tried to patrol the US-Mexico border in his spare time. Few bought John Bradshaw Layfield as a credible main eventer initially, and it's likely that had his Judgment Day headliner with Eddie not worked, JBL might have been a one-and-done challenger. Luckily for him, the match far exceeded people's relatively low expectations. It helped that Latino Heat saw it as his mission to bring JBL to his level and worked hard to make him look like he belonged. The massive blade job Guerrero did after being cracked with a chair also helped give the match a legitimate sense of drama and uncertainty, not to mention a visual that lingered long in the memory. An epic bloodbath the likes of which you will rarely see, it legitimized JBL as a main event player and set him on his path to the WWE title. Number 3, Shane McMahon vs AJ Styles at WrestleMania 33. Fans were thrilled when Shane McMahon returned to WWE in early 2016, almost 7 years after he had last appeared on TV. And fans were excited about the prospect of his Hell in a Cell showdown against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 as well. Unfortunately, the match was a bit meh. It had Shano's requisite big bump and one or two other notable moments, but it was overly long and a bit sluggish. So, heading into Shane's next big singles match against AJ Styles at the next Mania, fans weren't expecting too much. The Phenomenal One was a world-class wrestler, yes, but he wasn't a miracle worker, was he? Well, actually, maybe he is, because he led Shane to arguably the best bout of his second in-ring run. Kicking off the Showcase of the Immortals, McMahon and Styles had a show-stealing outing that was far far better than anyone expected it to be. Highlights included Shane pulling out the coast to coast and a shooting star press, as well as countering a 450 splash into a triangle choke. AJ held the whole thing together on his way to picking up the win, and it's perversely funny that he managed to have a better Mania match here than he did with Chris Jericho, Shinsuke Nakamura, Randy Orton, or Edge. Number 2, Roman Reigns vs. The Big Show at Extreme Rules 2015. Operation Get the Big Dog Over had not been a rousing success heading into Extreme Rules 2015. Roman Reigns continued to face fan backlash due to his mega push and had failed to dethrone Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31 thanks to Seth Rollins. So how could a last man standing match with the Big Show, who had won the second annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the Mania pre-show, possibly help the situation? Well, amazingly enough, they had not just a thoroughly enjoyable knockdown drag-out brawl, but the best match of the entire night. Show was the effective bully, swatting away Roman's attempts at offense and irking fans by getting rid of the weaponry his opponent tried to inject in proceedings. He couldn't do it forever, of course, and Reigns began to use some of the plunder, putting Show through a table with a Samoan drop. More wood was broken when the big dog took a big chokeslam from the inside of the ring to the outside through 2 tables, while Show missed a spear through one that was propped up in the corner. As the match wore on and each man continued to beat the count, there was a genuine sense that either one could win it, with Roman ultimately prevailing thanks to an awesome running spear through the announce desk. Lovely stuff. Number 1, Trish Stratus vs. Stephanie McMahon at No Way Out 2001. Trish Stratus eventually developed into a Hall of Famer, widely acknowledged as one of WWE's best ever female stars, but during her first couple of years with the company, she was looked at as a former fitness model who might make a decent manager one day. When she was booked against Stephanie McMahon, a special occasions wrestler who wasn't quite the confident big match performer she would later turn into, most would have settled for competent, and few would have predicted a genuinely gratifying and well-worked grudge match. Look, it's no mat-based classic, I don't think Gotch and Hackenschmidt ever pulled down the other one's pants and gave them a spanking, but it was exactly what the personal feud they were in the middle of dictated that it should be. They were laying them in as they brawled in and out of the ring and took some impressive bumps for 2 non-wrestlers in what was Trish's most notable and longest singles match to that point. It turned into a bit of a catfight right before William Regal made his decisive interference, but before then it was a miraculously good showing from both and a preview of great things to come from both.